So, AI agents and workflows. Some problems cannot be solved by a rigid if this then that flow. You need software that can interpret a request, decide what to do, and act, even when the inputs are messy or the steps aren't known in advance. That's where AI agents shine. What is AI? Another way to look at it. At its core, AI operates on a straightforward principle. It takes inputs, like your questions or data, and generates outputs, like answers or actions. As you see on the screen, this is AI. It takes input can be questions or data, and generates outputs, like answers or actions. And AI is able to do this by leveraging patterns learned from vast amounts of prior information. Think of it as a highly intelligent system that processes information and responds based on its learned knowledge and capabilities. Key AI building blocks, core components. The LLM or the brain, so the large language model or the brain, writes words but cannot click buttons by itself. So this is the LLM node on N8N. It can write an email, for example, but cannot send the email on its own. And this is where we need to use tools. Tools are the hands. So if the LLM is the brain, the tools are the hands, and they are apps that do stuff. Send an email, add to sheet, and so on. So once the LLM writes the email, this Gmail node sends that email. So these are the tools. Aside from tools, we have memory or the notebook. This is basically short-term memory for the brain, where we jot things so we do not forget. This is a picture of it on Anytone. So let's say you're chatting with an agent. You would need that agent to remember at least the last 10 messages between you and that agent so that it can have context every time it's answering your questions. And finally, we have the database or the library, where lots of organized facts live. And as usual, this is a picture of the database on Anytone. So let's say you have a customer support agent that replies to customer emails. It would need to have access to customer support documents inside that company or business. So where do we store those companies for the agent to access? Inside this database. So this is one use for a database. Recap, the brain or LLM thinks, hands or tools do, notebook or memory remembers, and library or database stores. Ways to use AI. So at first, you're going to be using AI in two main ways. The first one would be an AI workflow. They are fixed, predictable steps using an LLM and specific tools in a linear order, ideal for automated repetitive tasks like drafting and sending welcome emails upon new lead entry. Or you will be building an AI agent, an LLM that freely chooses which tools to use to achieve a goal, a smart digital assistant that makes its own decisions. So, this is an AI workflow. The unique thing about a workflow is that it has specific steps. Step one, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's always gonna go through the same steps no matter what. An agent, on the other hand, what's unique about it is that it has more autonomy. It can decide how to do things. So, it can go input AI agent, tool 1, tool 2, output, or if it doesn't need to use tool 2, input AI agent tool 1 output. So it has more autonomy to figure out how it should give you the output that you're looking for, unlike the workflow, which is always going to go through the same steps no matter what. Let's dive deeper into more detailed differences. So, workflows versus agents. How they think. Workflows follow a pre-written script, fixed steps, and rules. Agents choose actions based on context, goals, and what they observe next. Autonomy or independence. Workflows, low autonomy, they do exactly what you specify. Agents, high autonomy, they can plan, adapt, and change course mid task. Flexibility, excel when the path rarely changes and inputs are clean. Agents shine when inputs are messy, free text, mixed documents, or the situation shifts. Predictability or variability, deterministic, same inputs, same outputs, great for audits, non-deterministic, they may take different valid paths to reach a goal. Best fit use cases, compliance heavy, repeatable processes, invoicing, access provisioning, form validations, agents, creative or complex tasks that need judgment, drafting custom replies, researching across sources, etc. Risk and oversight. Low risk if rules are well defined, easy to trace each step. Add review points, human in the loop. I'm going to tell you more about that in the future in future videos. for high impact actions or low confidence results. So, again, the main basic difference is that workflows have specific steps that you specify for it, and it always has to follow those steps. Clean inputs mean clean outputs, and usually the outcome is predictable and the inputs are predictable. And this is where we use workflows, and this is where workflows shine. Agents, on the other hand, when you have messy inputs or you need to have some variables going into that agent and you would need the agent to think on its own, this is where we make use of its autonomy more. So mainly when you start building AI agents and workflows, you're going to be mostly building workflows because most of the times workflows are more than enough. But sometimes some use cases require us to build agents. And by now, you should understand the difference between workflows and agents. And these were the details that you need to know about in terms of differences. So, bottom line, AI agents add autonomy on top of automation. They read the situation, plan, use tools, and adapt. Pair them with solid guardrails and clear tools, and they become powerful operators inside your business systems. Key agent concepts. So, while you are building agents, you need to know a very important thing about them. Agents are very smart. We both know that. But let's say you want them to send an email in a certain way, or you want them to send an email based on specific instructions. They might be able to draft a normal email based on what they know about emails, but they can't draft an email that you would want them to draft unless you give them instructions. So without instructions, an agent doesn't know what to do. And this is why instructions are very important. And we call instructions system prompt. The system prompt is the agent's permanent job description, defining its roles, tools, and objectives. It tells the agent what to do, what to use, when to use what, and how to do things so that it can give you the output that you are looking for. The input or user prompt is your specific one time request to the agent, like find John's email and draft a follow up. So the system prompt is fixed. It's always the same unless you edit it, but it's always the same. The agent always follows the same system prompt. It's the instructions and all of that. But the user message or the user prompt is the variable input message that changes. So let's say you have a customer support agent, the customer complaints aren't going to be the same every time. It's one customer complaint might be from James, another from Sarah, a third from John. So the customer complaint itself or the variable input message is going to change every single time in most of the cases. So this is where we use the user prompt. The user prompt is the variable input message that changes. It's the customer complaint email that is always changing, and that's why it's a variable. The system prompt is the same every single time, so it's fixed, but the user prompt is going to be a variable. So this is a basic explanation for user and system prompt, just for you to familiarize yourself with them. Because soon enough, you're going to start writing user and system prompts, and you need to know what they mean. Now, remember when I told you that the agent has access to tools, which are the agent's hands, that allow that agent to do stuff in the real world? This is what we call tool calling or function calling. So, tool calling or function calling allows AI agents to interact directly with external systems, like API endpoints or other useful software. Why it matters? Agents stop being text only and start integrating with real systems, follow schemas, fewer errors, and embed business rules. So, tool calling is what allows the agent to actually do stuff in the real world, like sending emails, adding to a Google Sheet, and so on. So, it's important for you to understand that without it, an agent can barely do anything. With it, endless possibilities. Finally, quality checks and your next steps. How can we prove our AI agent and workflow works? First, we look at the accuracy. It should be accurate 9 times out of 10. So, 9 times out of 10, the agent or the workflow should give us the output that we're looking for. And if that's the case, that agent or workflow is decent. Speed target. It should have an output ready within 1 to 2 minutes. Some agents need more time because they do more complicated stuff, but most cases, less than 1 minute is good. Stability. Less than 1% error rate with robust safety measures. Cost cap, each automated task remains inexpensive, usually less than $1, depending on the task and what tools it's using. Safety, no personal or sensitive information stored. And that's it. You now have a complete fundamental understanding, if you have watched all the videos that I gave you, of what AI is, what the tools are, how everything works and is connected, and now all you have to do is apply it. You already know more than 99% of the population about AI, so go all in and make use of the once in a lifetime opportunity. I made sure to include all the important details and concepts and definitions inside the videos that you hopefully watched. I've been building for less than a year now. I've watched a lot of paid courses and made sure to include inside these videos the most important things you need to understand. So now, if you have watched and focused throughout those videos, you can start building AI agents and automations. With that being said, see you on the next one.